The total number of nuclei involved in double fertilization in angiosperms are option A 2, option B 3, option C 4, option D 5. And the answer is 5. How come the answer became 5? It's because there are 2 polar nuclei, 1 egg nucleus, then there are 2 male gametes. So that means 2 plus 2 plus 1, 5. Fragrant flowers with well-developed nectaries are an adaptation for which of the following types of pollination? Option A, wind pollination. Option B, insect pollination. Option C, water pollinated flowers. Option D, none of these. This carries 1 mark. It's an MCQ question. And if they have nectaries well developed, so that's an adaptation for insect pollinated flowers. So the answer is option B. Given below is a diagram of embryo sac of angiosperm. The cells labeled as A, B and D are which of the following? So option A says A is micropyle. Yeah, that's correct. A is micropyle. B is integument. That's also correct. D, embryo sac. That's also correct. So the option is supposed to be A. Let's check with the other alternatives. B, A is hilum. No, that's wrong. Option C, A is funiculus. No, that's wrong. Option D says A is integument. That's also wrong. So the answer is option A. Now this is an assertion recent question. Assertion says an angiosperm flower represents the modified condensed shoot which performs the function of sexual reproduction. Reason: the fertile leaves of a shoot becomes modified into microsporophylls and megasporophylls which bear ovules and anthers respectively. Here the assertion is true. Why? Because angiosperm flower represents a modified condensed shoot. That is correct. We'll see how is the reason. In the reason they have written the fertile leaves of the shoot gets modified into microsporophylls and then later they will bear ovules. That is wrong. And megasporophylls, that will bear anther. That is wrong. So A is true but R is false. This question carries 1 mark. Apomixis mimics sexual reproduction. Do you agree? Justify your answer. Also state how does apomixis differ from polyembryony, carrying 2 marks. Does it mimic sexual reproduction? Apomixis means what? It means the formation of seeds without fertilization. There is no fertilization involved. So that means it doesn't mimic. No, it does not mimic sexual reproduction, but yes, it mimics asexual reproduction. Also state how does apomixis differ from polyembryony. In apomixis, the egg cell which is there, that can become diploid. Egg will become diploid and that diploid egg will get converted to embryo without fertilization. In polyembryony's case, the nucella cells, which is the surrounding embryo sac, and nucella cells are diploid. Some of these cells will enter into embryo sac and they become embryos. So these are two ways how they both are formed. Now this is an MCQ question. Cleistogamous flowers are invariably autogamous because option A, these flowers do not open at all. Option B, there is no chance of frost pollen landing on the stigma. Option C, these flowers have exposed anthers and stigma. Option D, these flowers are wind pollinated. These flowers do not open at all is the answer. Now this is a long answer type question. Trace the development of male gametophyte of angiosperm up to 2-cell stage with suitable example. Can give some example of pollen grain producing flower hibiscus. Now what's the meaning of male gametophyte? It means pollen grains. And this question carries 5 marks. So first you can start with microsporogenesis. Beginning from sporogenous tissue in the anther. You can tell about microspore mother cell in microsporangium. Mother cell divides into 4 microspores. And in the 4 microspores, each microspore will become a pollen grain. And a pollen grain has outer covering called exine, internal covering called intine, and there will be a large cell that is called as vegetative cell. And there is a smaller cell called generative cell. It is the nucleus that is there in the generative cell that will undergo mitosis to form 2 male gametes. So these points you can expand and you can elaborate and write to get 5 marks. So there comes a 2-celled stage of pollen grain. The remnants of nucellus are persistent during seed development in option A, pea, option B, groundnut, option C, wheat, option D, black pepper. Answer is option D, black pepper. Nucellus still remains. The wall layer of microsporangium which nourishes the pollen grain is only one, that is tapetum. Both are MCQ questions. This is an assertion recent question. Assertion is primary endosperm nucleus is diploid. Reason, it is a product of double fertilization. Primary endosperm nucleus is formed as a result of fusion of 2 polar nuclei and 1 male gamete nucleus, which means that it is not diploid but it is triploid. And so the assertion is wrong. What about the reason? Yes, it is the product of double fertilization. So assertion is false. Reason is true. Now this is a 1-mark question. Consider 3 plants with the following modes of pollination. Plant P shows autogamy, plant Q xenogamy, plant R geitonogamy. Which of the above cases is or are most likely to not show genetic variation in the offspring? Here only one case is there that shows genetic variation is xenogamy. So not show genetic variation in the offspring will be autogamy and even geitonogamy. Why? Because both of them are belonging to pollination within the same plant. Now this is one plant and this is one flower in this plant. This is another flower in the same plant. Now if the pollination is within the same flower, then it's called autogamy. Now if the pollination is between two flowers but belonging to the same plant, then it is geitonogamy. So in this case, both form no genetic variation. No genetic variation. So we have to choose which option it is. So P and R. That means option C is the correct answer. Only P and R. The 2-mark question. Emasculation is a process of removal of anthers from a flower and is practiced in artificial hybridization techniques. Mention one case where emasculation is compulsory and one where it is not required during such hybridization processes. So we'll start with question number A. Mention one case where emasculation is compulsory. Now it's compulsory when that flower which is there has got both pistil as well as the stamens within the same flower. That means it's a bisexual flower. In that case, emasculation is compulsory. And the case where it is not required during such hybridization processes, suppose if the flower is unisexual, where there is either only pistil present or only stamens present. In that case also, emasculation is not required. Now the B part of question. Why is bagging compulsory technique even when emasculation is not required? Even when emasculation is not required, we have to bag. We have to bag the flowers. Why? Because there can be nearby pollen grains coming and falling on the stigma. So cross pollens are there. So in order to prevent cross pollination, you have to bag the flowers. Banana and many citrus fruits are formed without fertilization. A. Name the process of fruit or seed formation in both the cases. Question A part. If banana is formed without fertilization, it is due to parthenocarpy, where fruits are formed without fertilization. Whereas citrus fruits, in case of citrus fruits, seeds are formed without fertilization. That process is called apomixis. Part of the question, mention one similarity and one difference between the two processes. The similarity is, in both the cases, without fertilization, the fruits are formed or seeds are formed. Now the difference is that in case of banana or parthenocarpy, it is the fruits that are formed without fertilization, and in case of citrus, it is the seeds that are formed without fertilization. This is a very short answer question, 2 marks. During an excavation assignment, scientists collected some pollen grains of a plant preserved in deeper layers of soil. Analyze the properties of pollen grains which help in the fossilization. So the properties are like this. Pollen grain is made of exine, that is the outer layer of pollen grain. It's made up of sporopollenin. Now sporopollenin can withstand high temperatures, acids, alkali, and cannot be destroyed by any enzyme. So that's the reason it can be fossilized.